preface with this conceptual unit would actually be for like the next academic year, just because the seniors don't have time to do a 6-week unit, and I will tell you why in just a second. Alright, so this unit is planned for a 12th grade IB Language and Literature class. The students are 17 or 18 years old. The students are split into two 15-minute sections. So we have a 3rd and a 4th period IB Language and Lit class. There are 20 students in one section and 26 in the other. All of these students are really highly involved in the school community. They're either part of an extracurricular club, they do drama, they're in sports, they're part of ASB, so they're really highly motivated and ambitious. They're also preparing for the IOC, which is the individual oral commentary. They basically go into a different location other than the school. They go in with a passage and a tape recorder, and they have to talk about this passage for 20 minutes. And it tests their knowledge of material that has been read this current school year. So for them, that's Pride and Prejudice, Hamlet, and Tom Gunn poetry, which we're going through right now. They also do the IB test, which focuses on texts read in previous years. So they read Huckleberry Finn, Their Eyes Were Watching God, and Oedipus Rex last year. Alright, the class is composed of 18 female students and 28 male students. Got 30 students who are Caucasian, 12 that are Asian, 3 that are Hispanic or Latino, and I think we actually have 2 students that are African American, which, looking at those statistics, it's kind of, I mean, it's clearly skewed. In the general ed classes, the proportions are, there are a lot of Ethiopian students, a lot of Somali students, a lot of, you know, like black students who have grown up in America, yeah. All right, so these are just a couple of my learning goals. I have a few, but I wanted to focus on 2 of the most important. So students will identify and analyze a number of themes in their development within and across texts, particularly in connection to the pairs of love and respect, honesty and lies, maturity and responsibility, and they'll connect these themes to their own lives. So one big thing I wanted to have with this goal is preparing students for college and career. A lot of these students, even though they are very mature, they still struggle with, you know, having respectful conversation with another person and actually, you know, being self-starters and disagreeing respectfully with another person and whatnot. The second learning goal, students will demonstrate a thorough understanding of each play read, including development of character, plot, and themes, through response journals, student-led discussion, creative response, and performance of a scene, and accompanying character analysis. And that's just working on their skills of comprehension and analysis. All right. Again, these are not all the standards that it meets, but I feel like they're the most important ones. So they'll be able to determine 2 or more themes or central ideas of a text and analyze their development over the course of the text, including how they interact and build on one another to produce a complex account. I'm also building on that, being able to make connections across the text, so seeing themes that are present in both Much Ado About Nothing and The Winter's Tale, and themes that are present in other Shakespeare that they've read, so like Hamlet or Othello or anything like that. They will also apply a wide range of strategies to comprehend, interpret, evaluate, and appreciate text. They draw on their prior experience, their interactions with other readers and writers, their knowledge of word meaning and of other texts, their word identification strategies, and their understanding of textual features. And that's going to come out in the assessments and texts that they produce. All right, so what students know. I sort of went with the concrete facts. So they know a lot about Shakespearean form. So they know that he uses iambic pentameter. He uses soliloquies to express internal thoughts. They know themes in Shakespearean tragedy, especially in reference to action versus inaction, because they just read Hamlet. They know that there are tragic consequences of lies and betrayal. They also know elements of Shakespearean tragedy, so death and, there's a hero with a fatal flaw, for instance. Their close reading skills, they know how to make connections within the text. I haven't really seen very many connections to their own lives or to other texts yet. And they know how to define unknown words in context. But what they need to know, before they embark on this unit, they need to know elements of Shakespearean comedy, including, a lot of plots are driven by mistaken identity, and they end in marriage. So, that's good to know when you're trying to figure out themes in a Shakespearean comedy. Elements of Shakespearean romance. So, first of all, they need to know that Shakespeare actually wrote in a fourth genre, which I didn't know until I was in college. I think there are 4 of his plays that are considered romances. Sometimes people call them tragicomedies, because there are elements of tragedy and elements of comedy. And those focus on a reunion of characters, usually after a long period of time. And there are a lot of magical and fantastical elements to it. So the close reading skills, because they already know how to define words in context, we need to work on defining words that have multiple meanings or are used for wordplay. So to give you an example, I mentioned about nothing. The Elizabethan pronunciation was actually noting, which is sort of related to song, musicality. It's also a play on, no thing, obviously. But there is a specific scene where that word specifically is used a lot, and if you don't understand that it's a musical reference, the scene is kind of lost. Along with that, they'll have to be able to define words whose meaning has changed since Elizabethan times, especially ones that drive the plot or the theme. I know with some translations it'll give you a little bit of that, but I think it's an important skill for seniors entering college and the workplace to have. What students will learn. So they'll learn common themes across Shakespearean genres and specific themes within the genres. They'll learn how to identify and analyze keywords, phrases, or passages that develop themes. They'll learn how themes interact with each other and drive the plot forward. So I think in the classes that I've observed, they get focused on one theme and how it carries throughout the play without reference to, oh, well, it interacts with this other theme and it drives this character to do this, whatever. How to articulate interpretations of a text based on knowledge of theme, character, and plot. So not only articulating it through voice or through writing, but be able to articulate it through performance or a creative response. And how to closely read a text to determine meaning, theme, and character or plot development. All right.